Welcome everybody, this is Brothermutant here. Today we're going to talk about this new game, Pathfinder Kingmaker, that I've purchased recently. It is a very Neverwinter Nights 2 genre type game, more so I think than Pillars of Eternity 2. Not that Pillars of Eternity did do a great job. If anything, I found it to be a little easier than it should have been. It seems weird that you'd want a game that challenges you as much as this one does, and we'll get into that when we start leveling up characters to explain you why I find it difficult. We're going to go through a tutorial here, and we're going to do of course, picking of our character class. So this will be broken down into at least 2 to 3 videos to get through the tutorial. I'm going to record it all in one shot, so if you don't see an obvious exit and entrance to my videos, you'll know why. Well, first things first, this is how we enter in. I have played the game up to like level 4 on another couple of saves, just to try some things out, different levels and whatnot. There are different settings, of course, that you can go into, but we're not going to get into that. We're gonna make a new game, and we're going to pick normal mode. We'll go through these other ones real quick, and we're going to modify normal mode. So we'll go to custom mode in the very end here, but story mode is extremely easy. Easy mode is still pretty simple. I mean, you're only taking like 40% of all incoming damage. Normal mode, for whatever reason, is set to 80% damage. Why it's not 1, that would be normal. Challenging mode puts it where it should be, I think. A hard mode, it literally warns you away from hard mode and unfair mode unless you really know what you're doing. This is where a lot of people, I think, are coming in angry at this game, saying that the devs aren't listening, they're not paying attention, they're not doing a job. Because I'm dying a lot, this is ridiculous. I'm good at these games. Yeah, you're good at these games. This is random number generating game here. Just like D&D, just like Pathfinder, which is what this is based on. There is the opportunity for crits. There is the opportunity to miss repeatedly. And when you do the hard mode and unfair mode, they literally stack up the difficulty by leaps and bounds. If you look down here at unfair mode, you take twice the incoming damage. That's before a crit. So if I hit you for 10 points of damage, suddenly it's 20. And at a character that's low level, they give you more hit points than you should be allowed to have. But I'm assuming that's a Pathfinder thing instead of a Dungeons and Dragons thing, which is what Pathfinder is based off of. You still could get one-shotted pretty darn easy. So I would never really play unfair mode. Hard mode would be as far as I would take it, and I might even modify things a little to make it fit in with what I considered hard. Challenging mode seems to be kind of the normal mode that I'm looking for, but let's go to normal mode, and I'm going to walk you through some things that I'm going to do. So here's critical hits. If you highlight it, you basically keep your mouse or cursor over here, you see some text over here. It explains a lot of what's going on. So members of your party do not suffer critical hits if you set it off. If you have it weak, which is what it's set to right now, for some reason on normal mode, damage bonuses are not multiplied on critical hits suffered by your party. By damage bonuses, I think what they mean is like you have a strength bonus that increases the damage of an attack. Those don't get multiplied as well as the critical hit. The critical hit only modifies the weapon attack. So let's say a weapon does 1d6 damage. Because you have a high strength, you do 1d6 plus 4. So then the range is 5 to 10. If you crit, 5 to 10 becomes a lot more. In this case, a crit would be 1d6 times, let's say, 2. So 2 to 12 plus 4. So the plus 4 doesn't get multiplied by 2, if that makes more sense to you. So we're going to actually set this to normal, because it's a normal mode. This is kind of what I think of as normal mode. Everything should be 100% normal level of whatever. Here's Death's Door. Let's read this one because this is very important. With this option enabled, your character and companions will not die after suffering a deadly injury, and will instead receive a Death's Door condition. Think of this as for Neverwinter Nights 2 fans that watch my LP on that. This is like being unconscious. You get taken down to 0, you're on the ground, you can't do anything. You hope the fight wins, you can get back up after you get healed. In this case, you literally get back up with 1 hit point, if you have it marked on. If you take further damage, so if they suffer a deadly injury while under the effects of that condition, then they will die. So you still have death in this one. So by having it checked, it's not that you're immortal. That's cool. I'm going to save scum. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to save scum. This game is extremely difficult, even on these challenging and normal modes. They're difficult, especially at the low level that we're going to be playing it at. Start at level 1, get yourself to level 3, and you could still be couple one-shotted, and bam, you're back down to, resetting a game that you've played hours into. Kind of unfair. So we will save scum. It's going to be a thing. I do apologize for that, but it's where we're at. Dead companions rise after combat. Now this one here I want off. Now, this one's not, neither your character nor your companions will ever die from any damage or effect. They will only become unconscious and will rise after combat is over. That's bull. I don't think that makes any sense. If your teammate dies, again, I'll save scum, so I'll probably just start it over. That's whatever combat we just did. But in this game, there is raising. You can raise dead. You can take the body back to the town, pay good money to have someone brought back to life. It costs money, so it's a penalty. And the penalty also includes that when they're brought back, they lose some levels. They basically are stressed out from being dead and now back to life. It is a common D&D theme, so it makes sense. I may change my mind about save scumming on some of these things. If I get good into the game and everything's going fine, and then I finally just like lose a character, you can't let your main character die. But if you lose like one of your friends, one of your allies, poof, I may just say, screw it, I have enough coin, then my fault for not paying attention. Let's take them back to town and res them, or use my own spells to res them, whatever makes sense. Remove negative effects on rest. Basically, if you're blind and having a penalty to damage, these effects will be removed if you take a nap. That seems dumb. You should be using lesser restoration. You should be using cure blindness and whatever else, remove blindness spells, potions, whatever it need to remove those negative effects. That's why the negative effects were there. Now there are negative effects that are not permanent. There's like minor debuffs, if you will. Those ones, this should not impact. We're talking about the ones that are considered quote-unquote permanent. And they will be, unless I cure them. So you can remove this, like by having to take a knee, which you can't really do all that much in the game anyway, so there's still reason for it to be impactful. But I'm going hardcore kind of D&D roles here. If I've been blinded and it's considered a permanent blindness, well then I either have to tough through it, or I need to find a cure blindness spell or pay to have myself healed, so to speak. And that's where we're going with this by having this one checked off. Auto level up, this basically tells us that we don't want to have the companions level themselves up, or even my character. I will choose to do it myself. This gives me the freedom to make the team the way I want it. You can do what you want, and for those that aren't experienced with this game, feel free to do normal mode or easy mode or on down, and have those auto levels ups built in. The devs knew what they were doing. They know how to make a decent cleric, a wizard, what have you. On your team, they will not be horrible characters. Will they be min-maxed to the best? Probably not, but they will do their job like they need to be. Out of the book, a fighter's going to be a fighter. He will kill things. It's going to be fine. So if you just want to play, have that on auto, and enjoy the fact that you're just enjoying the very immersive content of this game. Enemy stat adjustment. Notice how it says somewhat easier enemies. I don't want that. We're playing on normal enemy mode. If you played challenging or hard mode, chances are these ones are much harder. I wish they would tell you what this means. They have on the forums, for hard mode anyway, I know you get they get like a +4 to their armor class. They get a +4 to their attack. I think they even get a +4 to their damage, which is god awful for the starting level 1 character. If you don't have a good hit off the get-go, you are save scumming before you get out of the tutorial. Now if I was the devs, I probably would have ramped it up slowly, built you into level 2 before giving hard mode to be hard. At least get you out of the tutorial with level 2 status where you have some extra hit points and you can kind of see, wow, we're really going to have to put in some effort into this. They hit you right off the gate. And I'm not going to complain about it because I'm fine with it. And again, I don't mind save scumming on this stuff. It's not like D&D where I spent all weekend building a character and then watching it get mutilated because they decided to roll a dragon on my face. But I can see where people get upset. I'm going to have it on normal enemies, so basically they are the normal stats and abilities of what a normal class should be. Notice how damage to the party is also at 80%. Well, now it's at 1. So that's 1 times the effect. So 1 equals 100% of whatever the damage should have been, you're going to get hit by. So if it was supposed to do 10 points of damage, it's going to do 10 points of damage. If you do the unfair mode and the hard mode, and I even think the challenging mode, they start scaling this up, and you can see very quickly you can do a lot of damage, and man, I would not recommend it. Once you set these settings, I don't think you get to set them back up either. I think they stay where they're at, or you can nerf them, but I don't think you get to scale them up after the fact. I might be wrong, but this is where I'm going to set it. They have the equal chance to do the crits, normal level of crits like you see here, normal enemy stats, and normal amount of damage to me. That feels like a normal mode to me. So that's our enemy difficulty and on down. Now party speed depends on weight you are carrying. Toggles the encumbrance effect on a character's movement speed. Yes. It's one of the reasons I like this game, is you have weight that matters. Gear that you're toting around. You don't get to carry 5 billion pounds of weight on your back as a lowly wizard with a level 8 strength and go, I got all the golden potions and whatever in the world. I'm fine. You will have to earn it. What you have to leave behind, what you can take with you, how much can you pack out with your team. And it's a shared team effort, which is really nice. Kingdom management, we'll leave that to normal. Haven't even gotten to that stuff yet, so I have no idea what that even means. But the auto, easy, normal, and hard mode is pretty obvious, I'd say. Oh, now this one's neat. Only active companions receive XP. Boom. Yes. Notice what it says over here. If you enable this option, only companions in your current party will gain experience. If there are less than 6 companions, each of them will receive increased experience. Disable this option for all companions to gain experience evenly. So if you want to have lots and lots of XP, take a team of 5, team of 4. If you can get away with a team of 3, do a team of 3. Leave the guys back in their base, level up your main character, get him a good level or 2 under his belt above everyone else. This is one of the ways that I'm going to try to do it. And this one here is going to be the other way. Only skill users receives skill check experience. This will be great because I'm going to play a, not an arcane trickster per se, but you'll see when we get to classes, but basically it'll be a rogue that has spells. And I'll be picking traps, disarming them, opening locks, all that fun jazz. That gets XP. I don't have to share it with the team now. It's all me, baby. And I'm cool with that for a couple of reasons. That's more D&D style. And if someone else on the team just happens to be a better adventurer, let them be a better adventurer. They deserve that XP. They earned it. So I'm cool with this. And if anything, this might give me a chance to out-level my team. So when I reach level 2, they're still working on level 2. And while that doesn't sound like a great idea, I'll get there faster. I'll have better spells by that point, better attacks, and all that fun stuff. So yes, we'll out-level each other periodically. But again, that's more tabletop version as far as I'm concerned. Now here is a brick stupid idea. This is the very fun and useful thing that devs include in most games now, where there's only one save file, which is misleading. The game will save at various points for you, auto-saving. The game will also save when you log off. Therefore, you don't have to play for 70 plus hours straight and prove your manliness and about how you only need to save once. Look at me, I'm a badass. I'm stupid. I like hanging bricks from my testicles and throwing them off the balcony. Yay me. No, screw you. I'm never doing that mode. It's dumb. It makes no sense. I don't understand why you would want to penalize yourself that way. Max everything else out and have fun, dude, but have save files, for the love of God. No one's impressed by this. This is really silly, and you're going to get frustrated very quickly if you start using that mode. To each his own. For those that want to prove how cool they are, that they have a build, and this will prove to them and all their friends on YouTube and Twitch and whatever else that they're a badass. Be that badass. I say go for it, but I'm not an idiot, and I'm not going to do it. Immersive mode. Mode disables almost all interface hints in combat. Lines of attack, current enemy actions, cooldown timers, shows your character's actions and enemy's health bars. Additional options are available in the game. Now this one, basically, if you click on this, you don't get all those little tidbits, those little tricks. Doesn't show you who gets to shoot first. Who's, because there's little countdown timers above each of your characters. So we're going to keep that off because I might need that for helpful. Who's going to swing first? Who's going to shoot next? And the way I rationalize it is this way. In an actual combat, if I was in real life a wizard or rogue or whatever, and I was fighting, surely if I see a guy and I see that I'm getting ready to throw a dagger in his face and he has no idea that I'm even looking at him, it should be obvious to me that I'm going to attack first. So I don't mind the little timer to show that my reaction speed, my initiative, is better than their initiative. I'm cool with that. Plus, it's still going to be in the combat log anyway. So instead of having to constantly refer back to the log to see who's going to go first, who's going to attack next, those little things above their heads are going to help me a bit. And we are, of course, going to show the tutorial because it's an LP, but it's more of a, what do you guys think of this game? So let's go next. I feel good about that. Now we have pre-made characters. Not a bunch. You got your fight or fight, specific roles that they give for them. I don't know if I'd agree with all of them. I mean, the fighter, that's not a protector. He's more of a meleeer. The paladin, to me, is the protector. Really cool pictures. I love the ranger. A very arcane archer-esque look to her. And there are a variety of ranged magic casting types. Hell, there's even a paladin type that's a ranged bowman that does spells and stuff, which I'll show you in a bit. But very cool. I could totally see making one of those someday. We have Ponce of a sorcerer. Kind of hate this prick just for the look on his face. We got a little midget here with a little bobblehead. She looks all cute as a cleric. But we're going to make a custom class. Now again, you can do these. These are pre-generated for those that just like, I want to see what this is like and I don't want to think about it. Click and go into it. Perfectly fine. I'm not going to penalize you guys for it, especially for the people that never play the game. Pick a fighter. You'll have fun. Pick a paladin. You'll have a blast. Ranger even. You'll be fine. Sorcerer and cleric, you still need to know quite a bit to make them good at level 1. They will go out of their way to give you the stats that will get you good, but you really have to pay attention to your health. These guys, there's a little more leeway because of their armor, because of their health, because of their strength. They're brawlers. All 3 of these guys, as far as I'm concerned. Well, maybe not this one. This one looks like they're making a ranged archer. So, But this one is what we're going to pick, because it also allowed me to show you various things. Now, I already picked, I've already done this video once before, and I lost my audio to it, so I have to do this again. So I'm going to flash through some of this stuff, and I apologize. I'm not Skinny Mini. I'm not Mr. Beefstick. I'm Mr. Normal. And I love how the sliders here for the different bodies, faces, hair have a number associated with it, so you can tell how many more you got to click. Gee, did I see that face before? It looks like that face I saw before. Am I already past that face? Oh wait, this looks similar. Yeah, it's because you're on number 1 again. So if you know which one you want, you can pretty much go to it. This looks like a smart guy who looks like he's going to stab you in the face with some magic spells. I'll give him a nice tan, and I'm going to be bald like my character. And I'm going to have a beard like my character-ish. Now clearly male, brown hair. You can switch to your handedness, which I think is just a nice little touch. Nothing huge. Notice your race over here. We haven't picked our stats yet, but notice our race over here changes a variety of things, including not only how we look, but it gives us inborn abilities and what have you. Just like your pen and paper D&D or Pathfinder, I assume. Never played it, so I wouldn't know. But definitely Dungeons and Dragons are reminiscent of those things. I'm going human. Again, now I gotta go pick my damn face again. There we go. So, here's my human. Notice how humans get not only an extra feat at level up, which is nice. Sorry, first level. They get an extra skill at each level when they level up, because they're skilled beings. And we also get a +2 bonus to 1 ability score at creation. We can pick whichever one we want it to be. If you're going to be a fighter, you want that strength to be 18 or 20, you can totally do that, man. Otherwise, you're limited to 18 being a max for any of the stats at the beginning as a human. All right. Remember, the other ones have different ones. You know, like dwarves have higher constitution or strength and blah, blah, blah. Elves are more charismatic or intelligent or whatever. All that's applicable to them, too. Now, here we are in classes. Now, I'm going to go through some things here real quick. First, you see these ones that are not shaded out, that they're in like a tan. They're locked. These are epic classes, so to speak. You guys are played Neverwinter Nights 2. These should be familiar to you. Arcane Trickster, Stalwart Defender, Baldurs Knight looks cool. Dragon Disciple's always fun. Mystic Theurge is finally something that I can get into, but we're not going to do it on this LP yet. Duelist, for those that want to just be badasses with a rapier, or something similar. All of them are there. They haven't unlocked, so they haven't really said what they do, and I don't know yet, because I've never got that far. But we shall see. But now here's the other ones, and many of these are going to be familiar to you for the D&D class. Wizard, Sorcerer, Rogue, Ranger, Paladin, Monk, Fighter, Druid, Cleric, Bard, Barbarian. Now you notice I skipped by some. Let's talk about those first. Now here's an Alchemist. If you click it at level 1, here's what it would do for level progression if you took it all to 20. You can follow them over here, highlight these things with your mouse, right click, and it will lock on it, and you can kind of scroll up and down and read what they do. So an alchemist is basically a slightly nerfed version of a wizard. Their spell progression goes from cantrips level 0, infinite use of those, which is extremely nice, up to level 6, no higher. So make sure to get, if they're intelligence based, make sure to get your intelligence to 16. Right? That's still important. They have a low base attack bonus progression. Maybe they're a little better than a wizard, but they're not as good as a fighter. They're good at fortitude and reflex saves, not so good at will saves. Kind of weird. But again, it's probably because they're more of a fighter type. Fighting class type, excuse me. Notice their class skills. That will be important for basically. Doesn't matter which skills you invest in. If you have class skills, you get a bigger bang for your buck. We'll get to that when you start seeing me put those skills and abilities into place. But they get these feats automatically. Throw anything, +1 bonus to attack rolls made with thrown splash weapons, and that includes your bombs as well as alchemist fire, your acid flask, stuff like that. So you get that +1 free, basically at level 1. These are your proficiencies for your class. Notice how I'm good with simple weapons and bombs. And I also get light armor, but not shields. So this is an arcane class that does have the benefit of armor. Okay, doesn't mean you should use it, just saying it's there. They have bombs that they throw. We can modify the bombs by these discoveries that you see unlock like every other level. You also have access to what they call a mutagen, one of 3 kinds. There's one for your strength, one for your dex, one for your constitution. If you use any of them once, then you can't use any of the others until you take a rest. When you get and activate this, let's say you do the +4 strength, it puts a penalty on your intelligence. If you get the +4 to dexterity, it impacts your wisdom negatively. If you bump your constitution, your charisma goes down. And it lasts for 10 minutes or so per alchemist level. Yeah, very nice bump. So it's a good way to be a fighter that uses up, if you will. So if you want a multi-class, this is in this game. It is totally capable. So for those min-maxers out there, you will have a lot of fun, and I'm sure you'll make a much better build than me. One of the things that I liked about each of these classes, though, is you'll notice they have the purest version of it, an alchemist, a bard, a barbarian, whatever, but they also have 3 subclasses. You can pick up just a purist, or you can go grenadier, which I've already done, and a higher difficulty. I liked it for this reason alone. Precise bomb. At level 2 for free, my alchemist can throw bombs that do not impact the team. That includes myself. I could set myself on fire with my bombs as an alchemist. Not cool. This way, I don't have to worry about it, because the AoE is pretty gnarly. And there's all kinds of stuff you still get for discoveries. You still get plenty of bombs. If you click on these and you rotate them in and out, you see we get some different stuff here. Another thing you get is the ability to set your weapons on fire or turn them into acid splash weapons. So there's reasons for picking different subclasses. Not saying that a purist isn't the way to go, but at the very least there are options out there that might be of more interest to you. Notice we have Inquisitor, and it is also a spell class. 0 level cantrips all the way to level 6 spells. This is a cleric based class, so cleric based spells. Even get yourself some domains from your deity. These are a very interesting class, and this is a very good teammate friendly class. Notice this teamwork feat that you get for free down here. If you go straight Inquisitor, you get this a bunch of times. This allows you to gain benefits with other teammates, working in conjunction with each other. So if you both have the same teamwork feat, let's say a shielding ability with a shield, you both gain a benefit if you're standing side by side. Teamwork interaction, which is key in this game, I think. Also, you get some of the best things here, solo tactics. Notice how this basically gives you your feat. If I pick a tactic, like I just said, like a shield protection feat, right? Someone else on your team must have it, and they have to be within like 10 feet of you to get the benefit. Not only do you get it, they get it. Now here's what solo tactics does though. If I have the feat and no one else does, I still gain the benefit of that feat. Amazing. This will make you ungodly with your teamwork. And then if you go other routes, like having a tactical leader, or you have a Sacred Huntsmaster where you can get a animal companion, you can give them access to your teamwork feats and just make them monsters that just destroy stuff. It's super fun to fight as an Inquisitor in any of these subclasses. Monster Tacticians, these guys summon pets, and again, you can give them buffs. Like this one here, Summon Tactics. Every time a Monster Tactician casts a summoning spell, all creatures summoned by the spell are treated as if they have all of my Tactician's teamwork feats. So they just have to be standing near these little pets, and we're all protected or doing extra damage or doing whatever those feats are. And as you can see, we get access to a lot of them. Very cool class. I highly recommend having fun with Inquisitor class. A little bit of healing, a little bit of attacking, depends on which one you get, but by and large, a solid choice. For those of you that want to be like the Eldritch Knight, and again, you saw that we have Eldritch Knight down here, there's this class here called Magus. Magus are kind of like a fighter-wizard hybrid. But let me rephrase that. They behave like wizards in spells, they learn spells like wizards, but they usually have intelligence or charisma-based learning. So it's either like a sorcerer where the charisma is their main stat, or they're like a wizard where the intelligence is their main stat. Just depends on which one you're picking. They also get the ability to use weapons in combat relatively effectively. They can buff those weapons. Notice the arcane weapon +2, where I can give myself a magical weapon short term, X number of times a day. Very nice class for those that want to feel like a wizard that's fighting in combat. They still get spells. They still have spell progression, only up to level 6, but they get those cantrips. And better than that, they get the ability to actually cast some spells in combat and attack in the same combat round at a penalty, but still, it's like 2 weapon wielding. I can hit you with a dagger and then I can hit you with my short sword, or I can hit you with an acid splash spell and then hit you with my short sword. That's basically what they're doing here. Very cool. I love the arcane pool. Very interesting class. This is the one that I was talking about that has the Eldritch Archer. It's kind of like your arcane archer. Very interesting. Could synergize well with a ranger class or a paladin class that has its own ranged abilities. Sword Saints, Elder Scions, they all have slightly different things to talk about, but they're by and large all good. From there, we have our regular classes, right? Wizards can split into things like an Arcane Bomber, which is a little bit better than Alchemist because you can still get to level 9 spells. You get bombs, but you don't get all the cool bomb tricks that they get. You might be able to learn them with some feats, but not all of them, and certainly not as many as you get with an Alchemist. So it's kind of hit or miss, but it's cool. Thessalonian Specialist, think of Red Wizard of Thay. Scroll Savant, these ones are trippy. So normally when you get a scroll, if you're not going to learn it into your spellbook, which these guys can do, if you use the scroll, you're stuck with casting it at the level that the scroll is set at. So let's say it's a level 1 spell, something like a magic missile. They will give you a scroll that has magic missile on it. No matter if you're level 1 or level 20, you cast that scroll, you're shooting out 1 magic missile. That's what magic missile level 1 does. But if you have this scroll mastery, you get to use your caster level instead of the scroll's caster level. So if it's caster level 1 and I'm level 10 because I got scroll mastery, I'm casting magic missile from a scroll like it's a level 10 spell. Well, that should be like 3 bolts, let's go to 5, I can't remember. But it's more than 1 magic missile is what I'm basically telling you. Shot out at once. More damage, better range, whatever. All the benefits of being higher caster level from scrolls. Makes scrolls useful again. Very cool. Wizard, straight up wizards, nothing wrong with it. It's kind of misleading, kind of looks a little bare bones and boring. You do get familiars if you want, or you can have a bonded object. And many of these have that too. Notice how Thessalonians do, Scroll Savants do. And most everybody that does magic has to detect magic. It's just an innate ability. It's like, oh look, it's magic. Yeah. But wizards are interesting. Sorcerers, of course, are cool, and they have various ones. They have some that are intelligence-based. They have some, the others are basically the charisma type of sorcerers you're used to. This one gets their powers from divine intervention instead of being, related to dragon rapings or whatever the hell sorcerers should normally come from. Otherwise, they talk about the bloodline, where you got your abilities. It usually means you have to pick which dragon you are. Rogue will come back to because that's the class I'm going to pick. Barbarians. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I want to point out Mad Dog, simply because they get an animal companion at level 1. And those animal companions you can pick in this game are actually pretty varied. From dogs to wolves, smilodons, boars and bears are in there. There's a giant ass caterpillar. That's not a caterpillar, what is it called? Centipede. And that thing does poison damage. It is hideous looking, dude. It gives me the willies every time I see him. But you can have them on your team if you want one. So they get better over time as you level up. And if you have different classes that also have animal companions, if you're multi-class, they're cumulative. So levels in Mad Dog would synergize just fine with levels of Druid to increase your animal companion, because you only get the one, right? And there's other stuff over here. But again, your typical barbarian, your meat stick of beaten down, tough as hell, stupid as hell, typical type of barbarians is what you'd expect. Bards are kind of cool. Again, you still get your inspires, your little songs that increase attack rolls, damage rolls, skill checks. You get one early on in the game, in the tutorial anyway. Whether she stays with you, that's up to you. But by and large, she is helpful. And she's not great, but she's good. And she's good enough that I don't want to play a bard. I'll keep her with me. Various classes, of course. One in particular, kind of scary one, is archaeologist, because they lose those inspires. So that's kind of a problem. But be warned, Thundercaller and Flame Dancer sound cool. And while Flame Dancer does have access to some fire spells, once you get to level 8, they unlock the ability to learn Burning Hands, Burning Arc, and Fireball, which are level 1, 2, and 3 spells, respectively. Gives you some much needed fire power, so to speak. I can't say as I'm particularly interested in it. There's other things that they do, but by and large, still team support. Clerics. We have your straight up clerics. They look very boring, but they're not. You have plenty of spells, plenty of damage, plenty of weapons and armor. deity related domains to pick from. Crusaders, kind of more fighter fights. Herald Callers, instead of healing so much, they summon animals to help them, monsters. Think of like how the Druids do it. Ecclesiatheurge, these ones rely more on spells than they do on attacking with weapons. Doesn't mean you can't swing a sword or shoot a crossbow, but by and large they rely on spells, so I'm assuming they get bonuses to spell picks or whatever, or extra damage or what have you. Druids, still here, still doing their shape-shifty thing, still resisting nature's lure, still immune to poison after a certain level. By and large, really good class. Got their spells. They got Nature Bond. Now this is important. This one can be either an animal companion, or you can pick a cleric domain. Notice how you can be air, animal, earth, fire, plant, water, or weather. So if you pick that domain, you do not get the pet. If you do that, you get an extra ability or spell-like ability, or 2 or 3. But keep that in mind. Do you want the pet? Do you want to have the extra spells from the cleric domains? Some are pretty good. The water one in particular has a spell-like ability where you throw an icicle for damage at range. Kind of cool. And there's druids broken down into, do you like the Fae? Do you hate the Fae? Do you like to poison people and make them sick? Or just be a straight-up druid? All are good. Notice the alignment restriction here. Neutral good, lawful neutral, neutral, evil, chaotic neutral. Has to be neutral of some way. This is in this game. If you deviate out of your neutral setting, if you become too evil, or too good, or too chaotic, or too lawful, where you're no longer neutral something or something neutral, you can no longer progress as a druid. You don't have access to your spells, you don't get them back. It is a pain in the butt. Same with paladins who are stuck being lawful good. Behave yourself. That's why a lot of people are like, I can't cast my spells. Are you evil now? Are you chaotic asshat? Well, yeah. Well, then why did you pick a druid? And see what happened? Now, whether these other guys have that restriction, I don't know. I don't see it here. But they're under the druid banner, so to speak. I would assume that this is applicable to all druids. It's okay to be neutral evil. It's okay to be lawful neutral. But make sure whatever the neutral part of you is, stays neutral. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Fighters, of course. beat things. They do a good job doing it. Eldor Defenders, Tower Shield Specialists are sexy. If you want to be a tank, this is a really nice one to have. And there's one in the group that will join you short term at the very least. She's very fun to send out and let her just take a beating. Two-handed fighter. You guys know what we're talking about here. Good damage all around. Fighters is a great class. Inquisitor we talked about. Monk, I'm not going to waste time on. It's good. People will like it. I've never been a monk fan. Every once in a while I try to like them. There's good stuff here, don't get me wrong, but running around shirtless and punching dragons just seems like a very bad idea to me. Paladins, on the other hand, are super fun. They got their healing abilities, the channeling of positive or negative energy. No, they have to be positive energy, right, because they're lawful good. This allows them to heal people, and also allows them to quote-unquote turn undead, where they basically just do a crap ton of damage to the undead. They'll have two separate abilities for that, though. One will be the one that heals people, and one will be a slightly different color. That will be the one that does AoE damage to undead. Make sure you're clicking the right one. And do not hurt your own undead friends, because there are undead people in this game. There's a Divine Hunter, very cool, allows them to do like range damage as a paladin, which I think is just awesome. Hospitaller, they heal better than they do anything else. Divine Guardian allows them to protect a single member of your team a little better. Why you'd want to be the doofus that takes the hits when if your character dies, you die, I don't know. But I suppose if you could level up another character and make them the Divine Guardian to protect you, the important person of this campaign, maybe that's why he's in here. But anyway, cool stuff. Ranger. Kind of hard to explain how they did the Rangers. They're still the pets. You still get the animal companion after a certain level. Freebooters are kind of piratey, kind of hard to explain, but they're more like team friendly, team tactic wise. Flame Warden, they're more of a melee fire fighting type. Stormwalkers are kind of like the opposite, where they're more ranged, but they're electrical attacks or storm quote unquote attacks. But they're definitely interesting, and I can see a lot of synergy with like a Stormwalker and the Paladin Divine Hunter, or what's that? No, Magus Elder Charger. I could see that synergy with all three of those classes and having some serious fun doing spells between divine and arcane spells and having good ranged attacks to boot. Rogue is where we're going to settle on here, and this is the one I'm picking. So we have a straight up rogue, similar to what you guys remember: sneak attacks, thieving abilities, all that fun jazz, extra skills up the wazoo, the MacGyvers of the universe without spells. Or are they? Eldritch Scoundrel allows you to have spells. It's not up to level 9, but still 0 to 6 is some seriously good spells. And unlimited cantrips that do sneak attack damage. Yes, please. I'll acid splash your face with like 3d6 extra damage rolled into that acid splash. So what does 1d3 suddenly turns into, what, 3d6 plus 1d3? Yeah, I'm loving this. And their sneak attack in this game is slightly different than D&D for like your Neverwinter Nights play. Instead of having to be stealthed and hidden and behind them at a specific angle or whatever, trigger sneak attack in that game, because I don't usually do it very often. This one, all they have to do is engage with someone else so they're distracted. So I can be having like the fighter up there, getting their attention. I take a side step to the left and facing the guy, clear broad daylight, acid splash his face, and I get sneak attack damage. Boom, love it. And this game is awesome in that they finally added a feat where any class, if they meet the right requirements, can get at least 1d6 sneak attack damage just built into their character. But it's just freaking epic. I've always said it made no sense that fighters and other classes don't have access to quote-unquote sneak attack. They don't have to be the same level progression that rogues get, where they get it like every other damn level. Just like these Elder Scoundrel, he gets it, but he only gets it a few times. But it's still cool. And if I wanted to do Arcane Trickster, which I'm going to do, Elder Scoundrel will get me there, and it's just more of the same. I may just say screw it and just go Elder Scoundrel all the way, but I got a feeling if you get to Arcane Trickster, it's worth the investiture of levels in it. So I'm assuming 10 of this, 10 of Arcane Trickster will be probably how I go. But now with that, and these other ones I'm not going to talk about, but they're definitely worth looking at. Let's do Elder Scoundrel. Alright, here we go. Now, meat and potatoes. 25 ability points to spend. as well as my racial bonus, a +2 to any stat. We'll do that last. I like being strong enough to be able to lift something and do some damage. The +1 modifier will allow me to kill things quicker. I'm a dexterity-based class. At least I want a 16. That gives me extra armor class, touch attack, protection. Not a whole lot with flat-footed because it takes your dex bonus away from you, but that's what armor's for, right? We'll get con up to at least 12 because that'll give me an extra hit point and a little bit of fortitude. Intelligence is another good stat that I'm going to want at least to 15. Remember, I need at least to 16 to cast all my wizardly rogue spells all the way up to level 6. So that at least has to get to 16 at some point. Wisdom allows me to get, not use magic device, that's charisma. These lore checks, there we go. Allows them to be a little bit better. Also gives me some will, saves from spells like fear and scare and all that crap that will piss you off in this game. I could go more charisma. I could go more wisdom and strength. I could go con. Strength. This gives me 3 things to level up with my next 3 ability points. Obviously, intelligence will be the first one. I want to get it to 16 as soon as possible so I get as many skill points as possible. Probably will stop at 16. Then I'll get con or strength up, and then I get the other one up at the third one. Then from there, it'll probably be straight up dex. That sounds like a good call. Now here's my racial bonus. Do I want +2 to charisma? Wisdom? Intelligence is already now at 17. I could take that point away and use it somewhere else. Con's up to 15 now, and I like to have that extra hit point, I won't lie to you. Strength would be pretty sweet too. But remember what I said about dexterity being your god stat? In almost every class that can afford to invest in dexterity, this would be the one that I would spend more of your points on. This is just a personal choice. There's nothing wrong with going straight strength con and having a dex of like 8. But dexterity gives you a lot of things. Initiative roll is based off of dexterity. You get, like see right here, my initiative is +4 already because of the dex bonus. I get weapon finesse for being this character, so even though my strength kind of sucks balls, my dexterity is high enough that I'm getting a +4 modifier to my swinging of a dagger or a short sword or any other light weapon, which includes melee touch attacks, by the way, guys. Also, my dex directly impacts, and it always does, ranged touch attacks as well as ranged attacks with bows, crossbows, all that fun jazz. So I'm a good ranged character, and I'm still a decent melee character. I may not do the best damage, but at least do some. Got to be able to hit your target to even hurt them, right? So there's the point. Okay. Plus I have spells to back me up on this. An infinite use of Acid Splash, Ray of Frost, or Jolt will allow me to do acid, cold, or electrical damage to any target and have a pretty good chance of hitting them thanks to my +4 modifier. More on that later. Now we have skills to spend. 5 because of we get 1 for being a human at each level, and we get 2 because of my intelligence bonus. So I would have gotten 2 for being a rogue, an arcane, whatever the hell I am. And then I get 2 more. I get 2 more because of my intelligence bonus, and 1 more for being a human. So I'll get 5 every round. Now that will go up when I get my intelligence up to 16, so that'll get 6, I think, every round. I hope I'm doing that right. Oh, now I think about it, I think I did that wrong. Does it say anything about it? Come on now. Tell me about intelligence. Doesn't say how it works. Yeah, okay. But it does impact these other things. Notice how I'm at level 0 for all my skills, and I still have bonuses for most of them. With the exception of persuasion and use magic device. And that's because those are based off charisma. My charisma sucks. But everything else, I'm already rocking better than a 0. It's not great, I'll grant you. And the ones that are green are the ones for your class. So a point invested in it, notice how it jumps a lot. A point invested in this one, it still only costs 1 point. It doesn't go up very much. See the problem? So if you want to max out the green, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would have to have 8 skill points every round to be able to get 1 in each level of the desired ones of my class, which I'm not going to do. There is ones that I need though. I need mobility. I need arcana. I want perception. I'll even take use magic device, and I need trickery. Now let me explain why I picked the ones I picked. First, go back to class, scroll down here. We're not clicking off of it, but look at that Arcane Trickster. Trickery, mobility need to be 4. Knowledge Arcana needs to be 4. You see that? That's a prerequisite. So I have to get those up to level 4, not +4, +7, or whatever, because I've already passed those on most of those things. I mean, literally, you have to put 4 points in each of those things. Trickery, mobility, and knowledge arcana. Now let's go back and look at our abilities. Sorry. Here we go. Skills. Mobility, trickery, knowledge arcana. I have 1, 1, and 1. So I basically got 3 more levels where I'll have to level them up. So I'll have to be at least level 4 before I can even think about dipping into Arcane Trickster. Probably even be higher than that. But so far, that's working in a good way. This trickery is important for me because as I earn skills, my trickery will get better. I'll be able to open locks, disable traps, and all that fun jazz, pickpockets and what have you. Every time I'm successful, I get XP. And if I'm successful, I get all the XP. Remember, we set that stat. That allows me to level up faster than everyone else on my team, in theory. So this should work. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go on. Now this shows us our abilities and gives us 2 feats to pick from. There's 2 that I'm going to point out to you right now if you're going to play any kind of range taker. I have Elder Scoundrel, Trap Finding, Weapon Finesse for free because I'm a rogue. Very cool, very useful. Point blank shot. This one allows you to do +1 to your attack and damage rolls for ranged weapons, including raise, so spells that shoot and have to do a ranged touch attack up to 30 feet from your target. As long as we're within 30 feet, you get that +1 bonus to damage and attack. Very nice. Now here's the thing. For ranged, this is the other one you want. Precise shot. If your target is in melee with anybody else, you take a -4 penalty to your attack roll, because I'm assuming you're trying not to hit your friend, your ally, whatever. So you're being cautious. With getting precise shot, which has point blank shot as a prerequisite, that -4 penalty is now gone. So I don't even care that point blank shot. If I'm greater than 30 feet away, I don't get my attack bonus. What I do care about is I do not want a -4 penalty to my roll. That would suck. And you will see characters missing left and right in the tutorial because they're a bard, for instance, that she has a crossbow. She will try to use it. She doesn't have point blank shot and she doesn't have precise shot. She will miss left and right even though her dexterity is really, really high. Not cool. And on hard difficulty or greater, you will really feel it, guys. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to do range, at least consider getting precise shot. If you can get it without getting point blank shot, sometimes games are glitched and you can. It says there's a prerequisite. Sometimes that doesn't matter. You know, they've coded it wrong or whatever. They just decided to be nice and say, we'll give precise shot to you guys for free. You don't have to meet the prerequisite. Sometimes they do that. But whatever. Try to get to at least precise shot. If not, point blank shot will help. It doesn't alleviate the -4. It makes it a -3 and ups your damage a little bit. But you have to be pretty darn close to your target, which you probably will be in most cases. But really shoot for this if you're going to be any kind of a range tune. That's what I would do. Now, you'll notice that they have color coding. Green doesn't mean good, red doesn't mean stop. It just means they wouldn't suggest you getting the red one. It's not that you couldn't. If you have a build and for whatever reason you think rapid shot's going to be the awesome sauceness of it all, pick it. Go ahead. No one's stopping you. They're just giving suggestions. Gray ones are, they're good, they're bad, they're in the middle, whatever you think. Throw anything as that thrown splash weapons, grenade-like weapons, if you will. Green, of course, is highly suggested. Doesn't mean you have to pick it. If you have something else in mind, do your own thing, man. I could have just as easily gone spellcaster on some of this. I could have, well, I don't have weapon focus. I'll say I could take a weapon focus for range touch attack if I wanted to, but it's not available yet, which is what this little button's about. Boom. Click it. Notice all the stuff that you can't use right now because you don't meet the prerequisite for whatever reason. A base attack bonus of 1. I do not have that, so I can't pick a weapon focus. I can't even pick weapon finesse. I already have it, so there's no worry about that. But for whatever reason, it's not recommending this feature, which seems weird because I actually already do have it. Superior summoning is kind of cool. Bump up your creatures that you summon to make them tougher. Add 1 to the total number of creatures summoned. So instead of summoning 1 dog, you summon 2. Instead of summoning 1d3, you can summon 1d3 plus 1. Whatever. So you can see there's going to be cool stuff in there. But you need augment summoning for that. Augment summoning, since it's alphabetical, is... Where are you, Augie? +4 to their strength and +4 to their constitution for the duration of the spell for anything you summon, making them hit harder, more likely to hit, have more hit points, resist things like fortitude checks because of the high con. All good stuff, and it's free. Well, you have to buy the feat, but you get it for every pet you summon at that point. Boom, awesome sauceness. All kinds of ways for you to build your character, but I usually hide that for now because it gets confusing. But if you want to pre-build, like a lot of us like to do, look up stuff in advance. What am I going to need to get lingering performance? What am I going to need to get improved to weapon fighting? Oh, I need a dexterity of 17. And I also need a BAB of 6 and a 2 weapon fighting already. Well, I know what I want to work towards. I'm not going to build that way, so I'll just hide it for now. But by and large, we're ready to rock and roll. Going to our next one. Here's my spell choices. Now here's the thing. This could be any number of things, guys. I have a huge list, but I'm going to point out some things that I always like. Mage Armor, because it lasts for an hour per level. Even at level 1, an extremely useful spell. If you find it on a scroll, use it. If you don't have it on a scroll and you have it in your character, use it, and that +4 will benefit you for that full hour in-game time, and you can actually count it down. It has its own little timer. Other things like ranged attacks, like magic missile, auto hit moves. About shocking grasp for my melee touch attack, which will benefit from my weapon finesse ability. So my attack bonus is higher because my dexterity is higher. How about snowball? Hit something at ranged with a ranged touch attack, as well as not only cold damage, but I also get a fortitude save to be staggered the target. Gives me a chance to like whoop on them a little easier. Gotta love that. I can summon a monster, doesn't last very long. True Strike doesn't last very long, but if you really need to hit something, True Strike is your friend. Use it, and then the very next thing you do, you better be shooting at another target with a spell, a weapon, or you better be in his face to do what you need to do, because it only lasts for 1 round. But it's a +20 bonus to your attack roll. It's not a guarantee hit, I don't think, but it's a pretty good bet that you're going to hit that target. What can I get for my last one? Let's look through this, shall we? Sleep is... On the difficulty I have, sleep would probably be useful. On hard difficulty, they seem to resist these things. Oh, I know what I wanted. Let's get some color spray. It's an AoE cone. Can hit anybody. Notice how it's blue and red there. You see the brown or green, wherever that color is. That's me. The cone arc can hit blue targets, that's friendlies, red targets, which are enemies. So this is not teammate friendly is what that's telling you, so be careful. But scales, and what I mean by scales is notice how 2 hit dice or less it'll do this, 3 to 4 hit dice it'll do that, and 5 or greater hit dice, and they will, unless they fail their will save, or make their will save, they will be stunned for 1 round guaranteed. Okay, so it's a save or suck spell. It's an AoE one. May not be great, but it's better than nothing. And let's compare it to something like sleep, just so you can see. Here's sleep. The duration is longer. It is a circular effect, so it's not a cone, not a 90 degree or 45 degree, whatever cone. It is literally a place a circular drop on something, and poof, you slip targets. It's not teammate friendly. You can sleep your own team. It says all enemies though, so I would test that just to prove it to myself. The duration is long, which you gotta love. The will negates it, so save or suck. But here's the problem. The sleep spell causes magical slumber to come upon 4 hit dice of creatures. Hit dice that are not sufficient to affect the creature are wasted. So if there's someone who has 5 hit dice and that's your only target, he won't be slept. Wounding them awakens the creature, but normal noise does not. Sleep does not target unconscious creatures, constructs, or undead creatures. So there's a whole lot of stuff here to unpack. What I'm basically telling you is it's not the best spell. There are other versions of sleep, like souped up versions like deep slumber that come later, that are better. This one rapidly uses its allure early in the game, and certainly does at the harder difficulties. So color spray might still not be the best choice, but I'm going to pick it. I could have went shield. Doesn't last very long though, but it does help. And I have limited number of spell slots. That's the only other reason I'm not picking yet. So, but there's our spells. Here's our cantrips. Moving on.
We will be victorious.
That sounds like my character. Good job, buddy. And I'm going to be chaotic good like I normally am when I play this. I'm not murdering hobo jackass of chaotic evil or neutral evil. I do give a damn. But I follow my own rules. That's kind of what chaotic good does. Lawful good, think of uptight paladin jackhole that just constantly telling you, can't loot that body. Don't loot that body. What are you doing touching? Oh, what are you stealing from the corpse like that for? Well, I was just making sure his pockets are light before I bury him. He don't believe me. I know he don't. He is totally judging me. He is a jackass. Neutral good's decent. I usually go that way if I'm going to do like a druid. I hate doing true neutral. True neutral sucks. Your wishy-washy is all hell. Bunch of flip-flopping jackasses. Lawful evil's kind of fun. Think Lex Luthor. If you want to be lawful evil, you will obey the law so far as the law benefits you, because other people have to obey the law, but you're still evil. If you want to be the Antichrist, that's chaotic evil all the way, man. You're just a D-bag. I've never really understood what chaotic neutral is all about. Chaotic good made more sense to me. And neutral evil is kind of, I can't decide if I obey the law, but I'll definitely be an evil jerk. Chaotic good is a good starting place, I'd say. Oh, and I need a name. What are we going to call ourselves? Let's do Mr. Stabbington. That sounds good. Alright, this is one last look at your character. Oh, I should say I can change the colors of my character. The clothes, the theme. So if you want to have blues, you can do that. If you want to be all bloody, get some red up in there, some Johnny Cash black, you can be that guy too. If you want to have bright yellow, you can totally go that route. Greens, go all camo. You can totally do that. There's not a bunch, but I like that they added it. I don't know why on earth you don't want to be the purple people eater, but if you want to be that guy, you can totally stand out in the crowd. I'm going to sneak thief around, so I'm going to pretty much want to be as dark as I can possibly be, right? So maybe blues and blacks work out well for me. I dig it. Let's see what it looks like reverse. So here's black for that one, dark blue for those. Dang, did that change anything? Huh. Doesn't look like that did anything. But I dig it. And you can totally change that stuff if you want to, right? Let's go here. And I will say complete, but this will take us into the actual campaign. So, here will be when I do my cutoff. With that, my name is Brothermutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I haven't decided if I'm doing an LP on this yet. So for those of you that are worried that I'm going to dip away from my Neverwinter Nights 2 campaign that I'm running right now, don't worry. Still doing that. However, I'd like to see what you guys think about this, because this feels like Neverwinter Nights 3.0-ish. It's not perfect, but it is fun, and I'm enjoying it so far. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys pick for your class. If you're having difficulties, what you've learned, that there's something that I've said wrong, by all means correct me. I'd rather give good information than bad. But with that, I'll see you guys pretty much right after this, because I'm going to keep on recording and make another video. So I'll see you soon. Bye now.